Hello friends! In today's video, we are going to take a look at some real-life traffic accidents. Out-of-control trucks, reckless drivers disregarding traffic signs, and much more. As we watch these incidents, we'll not only see what happened, but we'll also talk about how we can stay safer in traffic. Fasten your seatbelts, sit back, and join us on this journey. Let's get started. Raindrops fell on the road, the braking distance increased. The car in front of him stopped suddenly, but he couldn't. 1 second's delay turned into a chain of regrets. It was night. When he arrived at the crossroads, it was quiet, and the orange lights were flashing. Everything seemed normal. But at that very moment, a car came out of nowhere from the right. He didn't stop, didn't look. The other driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. The collision was inevitable. The silent night was suddenly filled with the sound of sirens. One intersection, two drivers, one mistake. The light turned red, but one vehicle did not stop. Maybe he was in a hurry. Maybe he thought, I'll pass and nothing will happen. But at that moment, the light was green on the other side and another vehicle was proceeding according to the rules. The result? A violent collision in the middle of the intersection. This image shows a tow truck. It is moving fast in the left lane with a vehicle tied behind it. But here's the problem. The load behind it is both heavy and unbalanced. Precisely because of this, the vehicle behind it loses control. First, it loses its balance, then it hits the tethered vehicle, and they both skid. A tow truck affects not only the vehicle it is towing, but also the traffic. What we see in this accident is that speed is always dangerous. But speed with a load, that is a disaster. An old classic American car? The sound of a powerful engine propels it through traffic. But unfortunately, this power is not used responsibly. The driver suddenly swerves from the right lane to the left, but the flamboyance goes out of control and hits the car to his left. Then everything starts a chain reaction. One car, two, three, and the whole place turns into a war zone. Again, a familiar scenario. A sports car speeding in traffic, screeching along like it's on a track, but the traffic isn't a track. He didn't leave enough room to brake as he approached the car in front of him. And the result? First, he rear-ends a car, then he swerves and hits another car next to him, and the chain accident starts. The van is driving in the right lane, everything seems fine. But one detail is overlooked. The driver swerves to the left, without looking in the mirror. At that moment, there is a vehicle in the left lane, and the collision is inevitable. Maybe a signal, maybe a half-second check could have prevented this accident. It was snowy and the roads were slippery. The driver saw the stop sign before leaving the street and stopped. According to the rules, everything was as it should be. Unfortunately, the same was not true for the other driver. The uncontrolled car hit the stopped car, and even following the rules on the icy road could not prevent the accident. The driver was a novice, driving calmly in the right lane. But all of a sudden, a car from the street on the right suddenly darted in front of him. At that moment, he panicked. No brakes, no steering control, just reflexes. The result? He couldn't recover the steering wheel in time, and the collision was inevitable. A familiar scene again. A driver speeding in the left lane. He steps on the gas, maybe he's in a hurry. Maybe he just likes the feeling of speed. But he doesn't realize he's getting too close to the car in front of him. A moment of absent-mindedness or overconfidence. And then the collision happens. The car right behind him can't stop and he hits it too. The chain accident starts in an instant. A classic sports car driving in the right lane. Powerful, striking, yet uncontrolled. For no reason, for no logical reason, it approaches the car on the left. It's as if he wants to squeeze, as if he's trying to send a message. But traffic is not a playground. This unnecessary movement throws the driver on the left off balance and causes an accident. The driver was traveling at a constant speed. No speeding, no violation of the rules. But suddenly a car came out of the right side uncontrollably. He neither stopped nor looked, and the collision was inevitable. A car driving in traffic suddenly tries to move from the rightmost lane to the leftmost lane. No signal, no attention. It is as if he is alone on the road. But that uncontrolled crossing soon goes out of control. The steering wheel loses control and the car crashes into the wall on the left side of the road. Everything happens in a matter of seconds. The driver was driving in his lane. He was not speeding, there were no violations, but a car suddenly exited the parking lot on the right. He neither signaled nor checked the road, and that carelessness resulted in a collision. The driver slows down to turn left, and the vehicles behind come to a stop. But just at the moment of the turn, a car from the opposite lane suddenly appears. As if fleeing from someone, it approaches fast and hits the rear bumper of the turning vehicle. He doesn't stop, doesn't apologize, he just drives off. The car in the left lane was moving forward. But suddenly, without signaling, it swerved to the right. The car traveling at normal speed in the right lane collided before it realized what had happened. The car in the right lane was driving on the road, following the rules, neither speeding nor making a mistake. But the car on the left suddenly tried to turn right. It neither looked in the mirror nor signaled. That uncontrolled turn resulted in a collision with the car in the right lane. It all happened in a few seconds. On a two-lane street, a driver is slowing down to turn into a street on the left. He sees the oncoming vehicle, but probably either thinks it will stop or doesn't care. But the car in the opposite lane neither slows down nor moves out of the way. And the collision happens at the exact moment of the turn. Maybe a moment of misjudgment, maybe overconfidence. A familiar scene again. The driver wants to turn left in a hurry. He neither slows down nor checks the road. He intends to turn and go as soon as possible, until he comes nose to nose with the car coming from the opposite lane. At that moment, neither brakes nor reflexes work, and the collision is inevitable. Yes, it's two rash drivers again. The car that wanted to turn left failed to notice the car coming fast from the opposite lane. A momentary inattention led to a collision within seconds. The black vehicle is completely faulty. Another unnecessary move in traffic. A vehicle traveling in the right lane unconsciously approaches to the left. It doesn't notice or doesn't care about the vehicle in the next lane. It starts to squeeze. What should the driver in the left lane do? There's nowhere to run and no time. A collision is inevitable. Sometimes, when everything is going normally in traffic, suddenly something unexpected happens. Vehicles are moving in the left lane, everything seems normal. But at that moment, the right rear tire of the car in front suddenly pops off. The tire skids and hits the car behind. There is no braking, no escape. An interesting but dangerous moment. The driver is trying to make headway. Suddenly, he loses control of the steering wheel, and the car skids and hits the dividing wall on the left side of the road. Everything happens in an instant. A car driving in the far left lane suddenly loses control and hits the car in the center. With the violence of that collision, both vehicles skid, and that skid ends with a giant truck in the right lane. 3 vehicles are involved in a chain accident in a single moment.
Wait, oh my God, hold on. Big wreck. Oh my gosh, right in front of
A vehicle traveling on a straight road, neither changing lanes nor speeding. It's just going along. But a driver coming from behind is either distracted or in too much of a hurry. The brake comes too late, the distance is not enough, and he rear ends. A vehicle is driving on a straight road in its own lane. Everything is calm, everything is as it should be, but a car comes out of the street on the right uncontrollably. It neither stops nor looks. And that's what happens. A collision becomes inevitable. It's clear who is to blame, but it's always the one who obeys the rules who suffers. A driver is driving in the safety lane, as if the rules don't apply to him. Instead of waiting for traffic, he tries to pass cars on the right. But that narrow space doesn't allow for mistakes. He loses control of the steering wheel and crashes directly into the barriers. The red light is on, vehicles are waiting, traffic rules are set for this moment. But at that moment, a truck runs the red light without braking. It hits the waiting vehicles ahead and passes without being stopped. The car in the right lane of traffic is traveling at a light speed. It is a 2-lane road, a space shared by everyone. But then the car on the left suddenly tries to turn right. He neither signals nor looks in the mirror. And that's what happens. The car in the left lane was going straight. Suddenly, the pickup truck on the right tried to cross into the left lane. No signal, no mirror check. After that uncontrolled crossing, the 2 vehicles collided. Neither brakes nor reflexes helped. The vehicle is driving straight, but the vehicle coming from the right street suddenly comes up to it, neither stopping nor signaling. And the collision happens. The car is still speeding even though the red light is on and can't stop, so it slips and hits the luxury car from behind and owns it. The vehicle was traveling smoothly in the left lane. At that moment, the vehicle in the right lane suddenly tries to swerve into the left lane and make a U-turn, and the collision is inevitable. You see, at a light, a modified car hits the gas pedal and suddenly goes into drift mode. In the heat of the moment, he loses control of the steering wheel. The car loses control, skids, and hits the sidewalk. The car was driving on a straight road. Everything seemed normal. Just then, a car suddenly exited the parking lot on the right. It neither stopped nor signaled, and that's what happened. The driver was driving in his lane. He was not speeding, there were no violations, but a car suddenly exited the parking lot on the right. He neither signaled nor checked the road, and that carelessness resulted in a collision.